This is so much bigger than you think. XRP holders, you need to stick around until the end of this video because we are going to go in depth on just how massive this recent Ripple announcement really is. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. And for all of those viewing this video right now, if you guys are not following me on all social media platforms, you are missing out. There's going to be a ton of links down in the description below to make sure that you guys are following me on every single platform and not missing out at all. And also make sure that you guys join the free Discord to make sure that you are absolutely crushing this cycle and making a ton of profits. Now, with that in mind, let's dive on in. So recently, Chainlink put out a great post, and there was actually a quote from Ernst & Young, and it is, "There is growing interest in investing in tokenized assets, particularly alternatives to drive portfolio diversification. Critically, according to the report, there is both demand and supply for tokenized assets among institutional investors, with 50% stating they would be buyers, while 44% said they are interested in tokenizing their own assets." So basically, the entire world is ready for tokenization. Like, this is insane. But if we actually look at this, we have which tokenized asset classes or security types would your firm be interested in investing in? And here we have alternative funds, public funds, real estate, treasuries at 31%, bonds, commodities, money market funds, equities, and even cash. And on the right side, we have why is your firm interested in investing in tokenized assets? Well, 65% is portfolio diversification, 58% is access to new asset types, 47% is greater and increased liquidity, 42% reduction in fees, lower transaction costs, 37% enhanced portfolio construction, 29% faster trading, near instant settlement, and then 23% is fractionalization, lower investment minimums. All of this, and what it's really kind of giving us, is the fact that institutions are ready. They are ready to go all in on tokenization. And the crazy part about this is, if they go all in on tokenization, well, they're all in on blockchain, DLT, crypto itself. We are now starting to witness a change happening around the world. And even over here, we have 2024 marks a turning point for the adoption of tokenized assets. Get up to speed with this financial megatrend with the Chainlink report. And here we actually have a quote from 21 Shares. "Tokenization offers asset managers significant opportunities, but its broader adoption has been historically constrained by the lack of high-quality infrastructure capable of addressing the technological challenges associated with integrating the technology with traditional capital markets. To confidently engage with this growing market, asset managers need robust risk management infrastructure through which they can securely integrate tokenized assets into their portfolio." Now, Chainlink obviously is a big player. I've talked about Chainlink on many occasions. They are right up there next to Ripple. I do believe that these two are already collaborating together. I might be wrong on that. Don't quote me, but I do know that Chainlink is working with Hedera. They're working with some very large players in the space already. And I do believe that this is only going to continue to become a reality because Chainlink is crucial for Web3. But outside of that, take a look at the market for on-chain assets. It's actually hundreds of trillions of dollars. And yeah, I mean, if we go back to that list over here on what these institutional clients really kind of see around tokenization and what asset classes they're really interested in, alternative funds is 53%, public funds is 46%, but real estate, 38%. Guys, that is a $380 trillion market by itself. That's crazy. The amount tied to that is a 100x from the November highs, just for reference. Then you have derivatives and all these other markets. Guys, there is so much money out there. So when we take a quick look at the recent announcement by Ripple with Open Eden Labs to bring T-bills, tokenized US Treasury bills, to the XRP ledger, this is the start of it all. This is a very interesting time to be focused on the XRP ledger. Over here from Wrath of Kahneman, although this is $10 million, okay, we have, this is part of a larger fund that Ripple will allocate to tokenized T-bills provided by Open Eden and other issuers. So this $10 million into Open Eden's T-bill tokens is just a small piece of the bigger picture. I'm very excited to see how much money this actually is. There has to be a lot more here. Now, also, Open Eden, the company that Ripple is working with around this, They're responding to a post. We have, you'll see $1 trillion promise. Laugh out loud. XRP RLUSD. We have only $1 trillion. According to RWA XYZ, the total value of tokenized US Treasury securities is already estimated to be $1.92 billion at present. Given a 30-day compounded growth rate of 16% and about 5 months left to go until the end of this year, we could expect nearly $4 billion in TVL for tokenized US T-bills alone by the end of 2024. But let's zoom out a little bit. Even as far back as 2016, the euro dollar market size was estimated to be at around 13.8 trillion. As of December of 2023, there was 26.2 trillion of US Treasury securities outstanding, of which foreign holdings accounted for approximately 8.1 trillion, roughly 30%. So even if we hit 8 billion in TVL by the end of this year, double the best case scenario, we will have collectively only touched 0.1% of the total addressable market. However, you want to slice and dice these projections, we have an awfully long way to go as an industry. $1 trillion doesn't even come close. This is from the first and only Moody's rated tokenized RWA, Asia's largest tokenized T-bill issuer, and a company that is trusted by 100 plus institutions, literally telling you that $1 trillion is a very small piece of the picture. This is much bigger than all of you out there could assume. Now also, going back, the infrastructure is the thing in question here. Let's go and look at a few things. Number one, big shout out to XRP drops for this. This is a tech infrastructure built to change the way RWAs move. And this is with Open Eden's. This is Open Eden Labs' overall infrastructure, if you will. And this is how it will work. Okay? So we have the investors on the left side. We have the US Treasury bills on the right side. You have USDC on both sides of the transaction. You also have the T-bill going to USD. Then you have the T-bill vault at the center point. And again, at that center point, you could technically have XRP and the XRP ledger. This is going to be very, very interesting once we start to see this really ramp up. I truly do believe that this is going to be an absolute game changer for not only just T-bills, but RWAs themselves. This is why I look at infrastructure. The key word there is infrastructure. Now, outside of this, over here, we actually have a quick guide to tokenized T-bills and their benefits. Now, this has outlined, some history around T-bills specifically, but then down here, we actually see the benefits, which it's the typical benefits around tokenization. You have the increased market accessibility, enhanced liquidity, streamlined processes, improved transparency and security, all that kind of great stuff that, we're really kind of looking around when it comes to tokenization itself. Now, we know Zonix has been looking at tokenization of treasury bills. Now that we see tokenization of treasury bills on the XRP ledger coming from Open Eden Labs, I do assume that we will most likely start to see even more happening on the XRP ledger, because if we go back to February, we have Zonix and Ripple partnered to bring multi-asset tokenization onto the XRP ledger, and this is all through their tokenization platform as a service. I'm very excited to watch this really kind of unfold, because we don't know the full breakdown of what they're really kind of focused on here, but I do believe that treasuries will definitely be something up on the list, considering the fact that we now have this big announcement coming from Open Eden Labs. But why is this so important to focus on? Why is infrastructure the big thing that I'm focused on? Well, it's very simple. If we go over here, we have US Treasury's Liang on next steps for CBDCs announces working group. Now, remember who this is. This is the U.S. Department of the Treasury Undersecretary for Domestic Finance. And if we go over here for the breakdown, we have in her recent remarks, the U.S. Treasury Undersecretary for Domestic Finance, Nellie Liang, discussed the future of money and payments, highlighting two key options: central bank digital currency and real-time payment systems. The Federal Reserve plans to launch the FedNow service, which has already launched, which enables instant retail payments or near instant payments using central bank reserves. While CBDC represents a new form of central bank money and payment infrastructure, both options aim to enhance the efficiency, competitiveness, and inclusivity of the U.S. payment system. Policymakers are still debating the adoption and design of a CBDC. The Fed insists on requiring support from the executive branch, Congress, and the public before issuing a CBDC. Meanwhile, technological development is underway to ensure rapid progress if a CBDC is deemed beneficial. The Treasury's report on the future of money and payments called for an interagency working group 2. Explore CBDC implications for broader policy objectives. Liang outlined ongoing discussions involving leaders from Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and various White House offices. The CBDC working group is formulating initial findings and recommendations on how a U.S. CBDC could advance policy goals, necessary features, design trade-offs, and areas needing further research. Though a full analysis will take time, the group and the Federal Reserve will provide interim public updates on their progress and findings. What's crazy about this is when we go back to that roundtable, this was from April of this year, unlocking alternative payment platforms in the US, you have Nellie Liang sitting right next to Lauren Beliv from Ripple. And the full discussion here is central bank digital currency and evaluating, if they are in the best interest. The private sector is steaming ahead with various forms of tokenized cash, and financial market participants are working hard to tokenize a range of assets. Regulators must come to a thorough understanding of the new rails on which value is being exchanged so that they can continue to provide effective oversight and minimize risk without stifling innovation. Against this backdrop, the OMFIF's Digital Monetary Institute was honored to be joined by Nellie Liang, Undersecretary for Domestic Finance, at the U.S. Treasury for an in-person roundtable in Washington, D.C. on alternative payment platforms in the U.S. During the roundtable, participants focused on two main areas: fast payment systems and tokenization. Literally the two main things that we are focused on here around what's happening within this industry and outside of this industry. CBDCs, tokenization, and stablecoins were all completely focused on here, and the conversation also delved into the long-term vision for the integration of all three of them into the broader U.S. financial system, including potential benefits for economic growth and resilience. Now, what's crazy about this is you have tokenized treasuries now coming onto the XRP ledger, where Ripple was at a in-person meeting with the Undersecretary of Domestic Finance at the U.S. Treasury. This is pretty crazy. Now, obviously, am I just kind of connecting dots here? Sure, I am. But I do think that all of this is connected. I think that we are now witnessing the tokenization of basically everything around us to not only push for a tokenized financial system, but also usher in the digital age of finance itself. And remember what some Ripple employees already told you. Specifically over here, we have Ripple Managing Director of APAC and MENA. RippleNet was built as fiat payment network, but the end game is using to turn up on-demand liquidity using XRP in major corridors. We see new use cases for our technology and XRP around NFTs and tokenization. The World Economic Forum says 10% world GDP be tokenized by 2027. And remember, right, as we look at this, this is all around centering XRP at the center point for tokenization. Check this out.
This is really the end game, is what can we do to turn that on with this blockchain technology and cryptocurrency to even accelerate that network. Now, this is really the end game, is what can we do to turn that on with this blockchain technology and cryptocurrency to even accelerate that network. So we have a product called on-demand liquidity, which is effectively using XRP, the digital asset, to settle between members of the network, between big corridors on that network. And again, do so in a way that has been highlighted today, that we can track who sent it, who received it, when did that happen, irrefutable, in a way that's faster, cheaper, and greener. And so we're really excited about this. We are doing this in building a big APAC headquarters in Singapore because we happen to think this is one of the great cities in the world to do so. From talent standpoint, market standpoint, APAC is a huge market for us. I also look after MENA, which is an incredibly important market as well, and the two are linked as far as trade flows and payment flows, as you would expect. We are importantly kind of bringing it to this panel. We believe in doing this hand in glove with the regulators around the world. We do think that in this sector, that it's certainly better to be regulated and to have regulations that we can all play by. And we need to put ourselves in the way of regulators that are thinking in a forward fashion about this. And we certainly believe that Singapore is, Japan, the UK, Switzerland, some of these jurisdictions, which is why we're betting with people, real estate, and our business model here. And the last thing I'll hit on, because again, the topic today is largely around payments and blockchain and digital assets, exciting. I also think the NFT game is incredibly interesting. We do think there's other use cases for our technology, for the digital assets, and that can be around central bank digital currencies. It can be around NFTs. We do think there's other use cases for our technology, for the digital assets, And that can be around central bank digital currencies. It can be around NFTs. We actually believe and put a lot of faith behind this World Economic Forum report that says that just a huge percent, 10% of the world's GDP could be tokenized by 2027 in some form or another. And if you really believe.
And now we are literally witnessing that. I mean, listen, US Treasury is being tokenized. Although, yeah, it's a small start, I do think that this is going to snowball effect into a massive amount, especially in a very short amount of time. Because at the end of the day, we already know that the US Treasury is now meeting with the private sector. Ripple is there, Stellar is there, Chainlink is also there, and I believe Circle was there as well. And they're literally meeting around stablecoin discussions, tokenization discussions, CBDCs discussions. Like, we're now at the starting point of the tokenization boom around everything. And I do believe that Ripple and XRP are at the forefront of this because it's all based around infrastructure. And we know that Ripple has been on a spree of not only acquiring a lot of great companies like Medico, which is key, crucial infrastructure, but Ripple has also been around for so long, expanding rapidly outside of the US and even trying to within the US as well. I do think that Ripple is already there. They're already there at the forefront of this. They're just waiting for the green light. And that's when everything changes, in my opinion. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, this has been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.